Just across the river from downtown Cincinnati, you will find what might be the best mix of a historic small town feel with the access to a large city like Cincinnati. Where you will find it, you might ask? It's in Dayton, Kentucky, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Everything you need to know about living in Dayton, Kentucky. Now, this area might not have been on your radar. It's not on a lot of people's radar. If you're considering a move to the Cincinnati area, you're going to want to stick around for this video because this is an area you're going to want to know for a lot of reasons, and we'll cover those in this video. But not just people considering a move from the outside. If you're already in the Cincinnati area, there's a good chance you don't know a lot about Dayton, Kentucky, and I'm gonna make the argument that you're gonna want to know more. There is an energy in Dayton, Kentucky that I think we're going to be hearing a lot more about this area, so you might as well find out now so you can enjoy it before everyone else knows about it. Just to touch a few things that I love about this area, it's got some super walkable streets. You've got some of the best river and downtown Cincinnati views in the entire area. So if you are moving here, you might be surprised that the best views of downtown Cincinnati actually come from another state in Kentucky. So this is one of those areas where you can get those views. And on top of all of that, you can find some of our best preserved historic homes that are selling for a fraction of the cost as compared to other northern Kentucky neighborhoods as well as Cincinnati neighborhoods. Before we jump into the details on Dayton, just a little bit about this channel. We cover everything about Cincinnati. We cover the neighborhoods and all the information that you're going to want to know if you're moving here or if you're already living in the Cincinnati area. So hit that subscribe button and make sure that you don't miss these videos in the future, because I think we're going to cover some information that you're going to want to know. And you might be wondering, well, why would I listen to Brad about the Cincinnati area? I actually get all of this information that I'm giving to you today through my work and my day job as a realtor. It's what makes this channel possible. So if you are considering a move to the Cincinnati area or within the Cincinnati area or even outside of the Cincinnati area, let me know. My contact information is in the video description, and you can reach out to me in several ways. Whatever is most convenient for you, I would be honored to be a part of your real estate journey. So if you're learning information from this channel, guess what? You're going to learn more if we're working one-on-one. Go to the video description and reach out to me, whatever way is easiest for you. Okay, so back to Dayton. This is a place where you can get a coffee in the morning at one of the hippest coffee shops in the entire city, and end the day at a comedy club with national touring acts you didn't know were even coming to Cincinnati. And what tops it off for the locals here and makes it all the better is the homes are selling for half the price of a lot of neighborhoods in the Cincinnati area. But there are reasons why not everyone's moving here yet. One of them is people just don't know about it. We're working on that today with this video. And there are other reasons why you might want to consider other areas. So we'll cover that in this video too. Let's start with what I think is one of the most underrated qualities of any place that you're picking is the vibe and the lifestyle. You're going to be experiencing a place that feels very much like small town America. It's kind of got that historic charm, very much a historic river city. If you are familiar with these Midwest river cities, you're going to find similarities here as you do in some of those areas along the Ohio River. This is a close-knit community. In fact, it's a pretty small area. There's only about 5,500 residents. Concisely, I would say the vibe here is welcoming, it's laid back, and it's kind of casual, which I really love about this area. You're really only minutes away from downtown Cincinnati. You can get to downtown Cincinnati much more easily from Dayton than a lot of the neighborhoods in the Cincinnati area on the Ohio side. But it feels like worlds apart because you don't feel like you're in the hustle and bustle of the city or even near it. So for those people that are looking for best of both worlds, this might be the place. People here love being close to the river. You can take peaceful walks along the levee, which takes you all the way into Newport if you keep walking far enough. There's a growing food and coffee scene in this area, and I think that's just starting. I think we'll see more and more coming to the Dayton area. And one thing that's really underrated in this area is the sunset views with the sun setting past downtown Cincinnati. It's walkable, it's bike friendly, and you're never gonna feel far away from anything in the city because you have easy access to downtown as well as the city as a whole. One of the biggest draws in this area is what's happening right now. It's not just a sleepy river town anymore. There is real momentum here. To call out a few of the places that I think are driving that innovation and driving that kind of new energy, I would point to Elliott Coffee Company. I was just recently at Elliott Coffee Company. The coffee was great, the vibes were better, and it's a really cool place where they've got this outside space, outside patio, as well as what I'm calling like their little annex with seating inside in a separate building. But it's a small coffee shop with all of the options you're gonna want at your hip coffee shop. Wayfarer Pizza is another place that I'm really drawn to. In fact, if you know me, you probably know that I'm not that impressed with the pizza scene in Cincinnati. I'm not too shy about saying it. I love our food scene in Cincinnati, but the pizza options are a little more limited than I would expect from a great food scene. Maybe people are just focused on doing things what they consider a little more creative, but pizza's essential. We need more pizza options. And Wayfarer is delivering on improving this pizza scene in the Cincinnati area and then some. It's actually instantly one of my favorite pizza shops in all of Cincinnati. You can expect a pizza with a thin, crispy crust and all of the right locally sourced ingredients. Also, they've got a great bar. They're serving great cocktails, a great beer selection, and it's a large bar area. So it is the type of place that you can just show up and hang out at the bar and enjoy a few drinks with friends. And one place that is just criminally unknown because they are really punching above their weight class when it comes to bringing in comedy acts that are nationally known, nationally touring acts, and they're really improving the comedy scene in greater Cincinnati. I'm of course talking about Commonwealth Sanctuary. This comedy club is in a converted church in what I would consider a largely residential neighborhood. It is just off of the main strip going through Dayton, so you have easy access, but it's also easy to miss if you don't know what you're looking for. But you're gonna wish that you didn't miss it, because I was just there visiting with the owners of Commonwealth Sanctuary, and you can just feel the vibes in this place immediately. And I wasn't there for a show, I was just talking to the owners, and even in this empty room, you could just feel like the energy in this place. And it's really clear to see why these national touring acts are agreeing to shows in this place, because this old church has the acoustics to really allow the comedians to thrive. Talking to the owners, they were pointing out that usually the high ceilings are an enemy of the comedians that are performing. However, the acoustics, the design of this church, which has really been designed to kind of trap that sound in and amplify what they were preaching years and years ago, is now helping these comedians kill on stage. But beyond the fun stuff, people really love that Dayton offers affordable living with character. We're not talking plain gray. The homes here are anything but cookie cutter. You can expect to buy homes that are built in the late 1800s and the early 1900s. And you get a lot of diversity of those years and diversity of architecture, so it's a really cool place to just drive through and see cool homes. Think original woodwork, tall ceilings, and the most inviting front porches that just makes you want to hang out and chat with your neighbors. Do people still chat with their neighbors? I don't know, but I think they should. So if you are someone who's looking to be more social with your neighbors, this might be the place for you. I promise we're not just passing out roses here. Dayton is not without risks, but in fact, every place has risks. So let's talk about what specifically to look out for in the Dayton area. Because Dayton is right along the Ohio River, you won't be too surprised to know that there is some flood risk in this area. And another factor that can amplify that risk is the steep hills that are not far away from the riverbanks. Because it's located right along the river at the base of some steep hills, it does have some flood risk. Mitigating the flood risk for some is the levee wall that is protecting some of the neighborhoods in Dayton, but it's not protecting all parts of Dayton. So some areas are in what we call FEMA flood zones. And you're going to want to know if you're buying in one of these flood zones because you're likely required to buy flood insurance. And of course, this is all just adding some expense to homeownership. And just going uphill isn't eliminating all of the risk. You may be getting out of the flood zone, but you might also be going into an area that's prone to landslides. And this can cause structural or foundational issues in your home. And of course, it's not every home, but it's common enough that you're going to want a really good inspector, and we have just the people for you on that. And for some homes, I would go beyond just the general inspector's opinion and get a structural engineer to evaluate the home. Now, for some of you, I have totally scared you away from this area. But I will say, I don't think that these two issues should totally scare you away from the entirety of Dayton, because they are issues that we can evaluate in a case-by-case basis. Because again, not all of Dayton is in a flood zone, and not all of Dayton is prone to landslides. But they are things that we always keep an eye out for our clients. You're still with me? So what can we expect if we are looking for a home in Dayton? This is going to excite some of you because starter homes are going to start out in the 150 to 250 range. Yeah, you can buy immediately livable, great homes for under $200,000 in Dayton, Kentucky. Some of those homes would need updates. They're not necessarily going to be the best finish or like the most up-to-date homes, but you'll be surprised by what kind of quality you can find for a reasonable price. You can also find fully renovated homes with river views and some of that historic charm from the $300,000 to $450,000 range. So still very affordable when you're comparing to other areas that have similar amenities. More and more, we're also seeing new construction options in this area, so that's something to keep an eye out. And oftentimes, we're learning about those new construction developments before they are broadly marketed. Now, for comparison's sake, just down the road in Bellevue or Newport, you can expect to spend $50,000 to $100,000 more for the exact same home if it were moved to those areas. Take it directly across the river into Columbia, Tusculum, or some of the similar areas on the Cincinnati, Ohio side, you can expect to pay twice as much. So for a lot of people, Dayton is giving that sweet spot that is close to the action, historic charm, and is still relatively affordable. So where is this new energy coming from? Of course, we've talked about the businesses that are popping up in Dayton, but there's also new energy in the people moving to this area. We're seeing young professionals who are choosing Dayton, Kentucky because they want access to downtown, but they don't want the downtown price tag. We're seeing creatives, entrepreneurs, and remote workers here that are looking for that historic small town charm with still having access to the city. And even downsizers or empty nesters are moving to Dayton, Kentucky because they have those river views and the city views, and they can find those smaller homes on smaller lots that have less maintenance. So Dayton is really appealing for those groups as well. There's a ton of community pride here. I would say that there's a growing community pride, but it's always been ingrained into this area. Thankfully, the people that are moving here have seemed to have caught the bug as well. They're moving in with the same mentality of loving Dayton, Kentucky and loving their hometown neighborhood. So the way I see Dayton is it's getting better every day. Living in Dayton, Kentucky means trading predictability for personality. It's not perfect, but if you're looking for charm, affordability, and having access to everything Cincinnati has to offer, this is probably worth putting on your radar. If you're thinking about buying in the area and you're trying to figure out which part of Dayton or Northern Kentucky or the Cincinnati metro area would be the right fit for you, I would love to help you move confidently. Just reach out because you can find all of my contact information in the description of this video. So use whatever is easiest for you. We've got multiple options there. And if this video was helpful at all, give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe, come back for more, because we're going to be covering neighborhood information and everything that's happening in the Cincinnati area. So I think you're going to want to catch what we have coming up. But also, go to the comments, let me know what neighborhood you want covered next. Until then, I'll see you around Cincinnati.